to the live show. This is going to be a great one. It's going to be very different, very special. All kinds of neat stuff happening. We're trying something we haven't tried before. This is Ruby over here. How are you, Ruby?
I'm good.
You know, Ruby, you have your own fan club now. Yes. I think your fan club started after episode 1 when people found out that you got drunk and fell into a bush. That seemed to be the beginning of your fan club. All right. So, all you guys that are watching, if you haven't subscribed, be sure to click up there at the top, click on subscribe, and then you can see all these shows. In this particular one, we're going to be talking about this new show we're releasing called Becoming an Artist with Trey, Ratcliff. And we're going to take live questions. You guys can ask any question anytime. And we're going to kind of like watch the episode again, all right? Now, a lot of people, this is just coming out now. We're just uploading a high-def version of it to Facebook. So maybe you'll watch it after the show. Either way, we're going to kind of watch it here together. I'll tell you some behind-the-scenes stuff. But before I get started, let me give you a little tour of what's going on here. We're here at my home in New Zealand. Ruby's on some sort of stacked beanbag situation. She just lounges around like this. All right, here we go. Approaching. Curtis is on camera here, by the way. Let me grab this. Hello, Curtis. How are you?
Hello.
Thank you, Curtis. Okay, so these are our sushi boats. We had a big party the other night, and we just blasted through 2 sushi boats and a lot of sake. There's my quad, my Phantom 4 down there is recharging. Always be charging. I'll give you a little view outside of here. By the way, if you guys are tuning in, just tell us where you're watching from and what the weather's like here, or where you are. I guess it's here for you, there for me. There's some of our sheep out in the back paddock. We have some bees out there and chickens. Those are the remarkable mountains over there. It's the autumn here in New Zealand, so it's a little bit chilly. I'd say maybe it's about 65 degrees outside. It's a nice calm day. I'll go show you the other side. How's it going over there? Just relax over there, Ruby. Just lean back and relax. I'll do the tour part. Jeez. Our party spilled out over here into our backyard. Yeah, it was really fun. We have some more chickens over there. Some construction going on. All kinds of stuff. My studio is actually over there. If you follow the little stone pathway, that's where the studio ends up. All right. Okay, now that you have kind of a sense of the space that we're in, we just kind of want to have a quiet spot over here where we could press play on the episode and kind of go through it a little bit. All right. So let me go over there and get it going. Curtis, you can frame that up. Okay, I'm going to press play. Ruby, you ready?
All right. Everybody wants to know where and what's the wine.
Yeah, that's usually a Heidi Winkler question.
Yeah.
Curtis, you remember that bottle?
Everybody question today.
Yeah, that's very important. They take wine really seriously here in New Zealand. You didn't know? So this is a wine by my friend, like a sommelier. And let me get close and show you. So my friend made this wine. It's called Mount Edward. I don't know how I'm framed. His name's Duncan, and he's a Burning Man guy. I've never partied with him at Burning Man, but I'm sure he'd be fun. Anyone that is a vintner and winemaker, I'm sure would be a great partier there. But it's a great wine. This is a 2011 Pinot Noir. Just fantastic stuff. Would you agree, Curtis?
Yeah, it's one of my favorites.
Yeah,
It's awesome.
Curtis is a real wine expert, so I just pretend. I just enjoy good wine. I can kind of tell the difference between like really good wine and really bad wine, and sort of in between wine. This is a really good wine.
Yes.
Yeah. There you go. Trey the sommelier for you. Boom. All right, so I don't know if you guys watch Walking Dead, but they had this show on afterwards that I really like called Talking Dead, where they just kind of analyze the episode and do behind-the-scenes stuff. So that's what we're going to do right here. Let me make this thing full screen. We're not going to like sit here and watch it like Mystery Science Theater 3000, but I'll just kind of be reminded of what's going on. This first episode was really special because I kind of answered the number one question that I get. You would expect that the number one question that I get would be about photography or post-processing or whatever. And I do get plenty of those kind of questions, but really the question I get the most is how did all of this happen? How did I turn into Trey, or what was the series of events that made all this happen? And so that's what this episode is all about. It's sort of like a little mini biography, all right? And I was always a bit recalcitrant to talk about these things because I thought, well, people don't really want to know about that stuff. Like, who cares what I did after college, or who cares about weird stuff that happened when I was a teenager or whatever. But then Curtis is actually the shining light that told me, like, people actually do want to hear about that kind of stuff. So, and then I've been telling these stories now for years and years, and it is true. People do like to hear these things, and I think it's very helpful because, I think we all feel like we have these really individual struggles, whether they're artistic or not. But really, everybody struggles. Like, life is difficult and challenging, and it's kind of like, well, how did all this end up happening? So that's really what this episode is about. This is like 1 out of 15 episodes, and we're going to be releasing one every week over the next 15 weeks, which we're really excited about. We've never tried anything like that before. And then every week we're going to have one of these shows where we answer your questions and that sort of thing. All right? Yes? Sorry, she was excited. She had a wine glass and she just forgot.
Somebody was wondering if I didn't have any wine. I do.
No, Ruby always has wine nearby. Sometimes she just comes in with an IV. She just rolls in a hospital gurney and an IV of wine on a steady drip. So this place we were in, this is in Botswana, and this was actually one of the last days we were in Africa. We kind of waited for the final day in Africa to shoot the first episode because we wanted to kind of collect our thoughts and like how do we surmise it, right? So we were on these like long boats, on these canoes in these canals, and it was me and Belle in one, so she was filming me as I was telling this story. And then Curtis and the rest of our crew and other members were in other ones. And it was really funny, something you didn't know probably, because I don't think we got any footage. I'll ask Curtis in a second. But he was flying the quadcopter over some of the canoes while we were going. And at one point, I think this was the Phantom 2 at the time, with a GoPro on it. The Phantom 2 clipped like a weeping willow or something. And usually when you clip a tree, it's going down, right? It almost fell in the canal, but somehow it recovered and barely stayed above the water. It was drama on the high seas. And of course I'm trying to talk and like be cogent or whatever. I'm just hearing like Apocalypse Now in the background while I'm trying to talk. So if you guys are watching, I don't know if you're in the Facebook group or not, but we started a new Facebook group just recently, and it's all a buzz. One thing I'm going to do at the very end of the episode is I'll pick a random photo to critique, all right? I'll just kind of zoom in because I got to grab that camera, then I'll aim the camera at the screen, and I'll pick someone. But I've seen all kinds of great photos come in there. It's a really fun way to make friends and kind of join in the community, all right? Any questions rolling in there, Ruby?
I'm just once is Robot Trey going to be coming out?
Oh, no, Robot Trey. Robot Trey is not me, okay? Some people say it's the real me, but it's not me at all. Robot Trey is just only on Snapchat, and it's really ridiculous. I've said some things I have a lot of shame about as Robot Trey. I know Robot Trey just sometimes doesn't really think about what he says. So, I'm trying to counsel him, but Robot Trey doesn't really have any feelings or... We're working through these issues. In fact, Robot Trey is currently in a fight down here with, you can't see it, but this is my Roomba, iRobot. They have a very complex relationship. If you really want to know more about Robot Trey, I guess you can. Are people from your fan club showing up yet?
Not quite yet.
We've been getting a lot of photos of grown men in pajamas, which is weird. There's a lot of pajama man wearing people in our audience.
Alright. Like that.
Yeah, delete that one. Okay. So, what you'll see also in this episode is all these clips of everywhere we went. We were in Africa. How long were we there, Curtis?
Well, all total 3 weeks.
Yeah.
About 14 days in Namibia and 7 days in Botswana.
Right. And so we were shooting the whole time. And so basically every other day, it was very grueling actually. Every other day we shot a full episode. And these take a lot of time. And in each episode, usually I start out by telling a little story, and the story might last 5 minutes or 10 minutes, maybe 15 minutes. And I'm kind of telling the story while I'm running around taking photos. So I kind of jump in and out of my settings and all this stuff, right? Just telling stories. Kind of like we're just hanging out in Africa together. We're just talking about photography, talking about life, taking photos. And then in the second half of the show is kind of where the rubber hits the road, so to speak. And that's where I start processing the photos and working my way through them and showing all my little post-processing tips and tricks. And I kind of continue to talk about that stuff. Like I mentioned this one, I love, when I was a kid, I loved growing up watching Bob Ross. Like he was on all the time, right, on PBS. At least he was on in the U.S. I don't know where you're watching from. By the way, tell us where you're watching from. I like to see the stuff rolling across the screen. I've got my little iPad here, and we're using this app called, what?
Oh, I was going to say, Gino Barrasso wants to know, well, he thinks that's an Airstream on her app. They want to know how many inches are sitting on her lap.
That's not so bad.
Good question, Gino. You know, Gino's trying to muscle in for your job.
No.
I have a secret plan for Gino Barrasso. And I hinted to him that I had this plan for him. If you guys don't know Gino, he was my co-host on a previous show that I got too busy to keep up with. But Gino is a very good friend and totally ridiculous. Almost no one makes me laugh harder than Gino does. I'll stop that one story and tell you a Gino story. By the way, the Gino plan involves a little bit of Europe, maybe later this year. All right. So we were doing our USA tour last year. We got a bus and we toured across 13 cities. And and one of those cities we stopped at was San Antonio, and it was great. And so Gino came down from Austin. He lives in Austin in San Antonio. And then also who happened to be with us is one of my other BFFs, Stu Robertson. He's got a big beard. He does Peace in 10,000 Hands. Another hilarious guy. Like both of these guys are like true extroverts. I'm actually an introvert. I think people think I'm an extrovert, or sometimes I might appear to be, but I'm really quite introverted. Like, you know when you're around naturally extroverted people that can just blah blah blah, just they can say anything. They're really good at it. I'm not like that. But anyway, these two guys are. And we always have the photo walk, right? And then we have the post party where we would go to a bar or something, and I would give a speech, or do Q&A, meet people, do selfies, that kind of stuff. And then we would always have the after party on the bus, okay, before we would roll off to the next city. So that time for the after party, Gino and Stu were on with me, and there's like this back room, and it was just the three of us, and they were going off. I've never laughed so hard in my life. Those guys, I'll never forget, that was I had many great nights on that tour, but I think that night because of Gino and Stu being there. So I want to find a way, Gino, to recreate this later this year.
We had the Janatis wild card too.
Janatis, yeah.
Yeah, he was the wild card on Always Sunny.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if you guys watch Always Sunny in Philadelphia, but we love Charlie Day, and he's sort of our Brazilian Charlie Day, Janatis. He's also our web developer. Is he watching right now?
Yes.
No doubt? Okay. Did he make some choice comments?
He just cut the brakes.
Yeah. Just cut the brakes. This was this really cool tribe we went to visit in Namibia, and they were like making fire and like doing all this like proper tribal stuff, and they were really nice. I think that was probably one of my biggest surprises from Africa. I'm not a fearful guy. I almost have no fear, which can sometimes be a problem. But I had never been to Africa before, right? And I think it's healthy to be afraid of lions, things like that. But I didn't really know what the culture would be like, because we went to like Johannesburg, to Cape Town, to the townships, Namibia, Botswana. I didn't know what any of these places would be like. But the people were like the nicest, friendliest people I've ever met in my entire life. I was totally shocked. And they all loved to hang out and talk and have their pictures taken, and just really amazingly open-hearted people. That was a huge surprise. And when I watch some of these highlights, I see how happy people are. They're not. You might think like, oh, they just put in the parts where the local people are are smiling. Well, they're smiling all the time. It's great. They were so much fun. I'm sure we can go back there and shoot a whole other series. There was actually, yes.
Oh, just a couple of
Go.
questions from
Please
you.
interrupt anytime.
So Philip Aaron from the Facebook group.
Okay.
He is wondering if you actively set out to pursue photography as a career.
If when I was young,
Yeah.
no.
Repeat, what
Yes.
was the question again?
The question is, did I actively pursue photography as a career when I was younger? Right? Or I guess that's the implication. No, I didn't. I've never gone to school for I've never gone to school for photography. I never read a book on it or anything. I'm totally self-taught. And I didn't even get a DSLR camera. I didn't even get a real camera until I was 35. So it's very new for me. Right now I'm 44, a tender 44. And so it's kind of almost like another version of me, or like I don't want to say like an evolved me or something, because it makes me, I don't take myself seriously at all, or like I have no ego, I have none of that stuff. I'm kind of like a vessel of the universe, and occasionally I can channel the universe and make something interesting with the camera, the post-processing. Usually I don't. Most of my photos are quite banal, but sometimes like magical stuff happens, and it's actually a process, this creative process, and I'm very interested in figuring out. I figured out a few things. I'm still learning like everybody. But anyway, no, when I was younger, I was an engineer, like IT kind of stuff, right? In fact, I had my first job 20 years ago with Curtis. We both worked together at Anderson Consulting, which is now called Accenture, and we were programmers. And I was always a very mediocre programmer, but I would hang around with other programmers that were really good. I thought, oh, well, they were meant to do this. I don't know what I meant to do in life, but it's probably not programming. Yeah.
All right.
I see one question over here on another form, which is the tripod you were using back then.
On the show?
Yeah.
Oh, I have a rich and varied and confusing history with tripods. In fact, I've switched tripods like 3 times this year. I changed my mind a lot. What can I say? My very first tripod was a Gitzo, but it's kind of big and heavy and metallic and clunky. And then I got a giant, really right stuff tripod, because I went down to Argentina, to Patagonia, with all these Russian ex-KGB guys. These guys are tough. I mean, if you want to hang out with tough hikers, they were both former Russian military and former KGB. Golly, they were hard. Anyway, every one of these guys had these really right stuff tripods, and they just swore by them. And I tried them out. I was like, these things are awesome. So I went back and I bought one. It's really expensive, like super expensive. It was like $1,000 for the legs and another $1,000 for the head. And I had never paid that much for a tripod. I go, that's just ridiculous, but I'll go for it. And so I bought it and I loved it. But then it just ended up becoming a little too big, a little too clunky, especially when I went down to mirrorless cameras. So then I switched to the 3-legged thing, which I thought would look kind of cool, seemed lighter, it folded up real nicely. But then I ended up with a unit with a bad leg or something. And so it just didn't work out. And about that same time, Really Right Stuff came out with a travel version of that big tripod, which is much smaller, easily fits inside my suitcase, and that's what I use now, and I love it. Curtis has one too, and a few days ago we took a helicopter ride, Ruby, and she broke off one of the legs. Is that repaired yet, Curtis?
No. I have a 2-legged tripod.
Got a 2-legged tripod, and then she lost these rubber feet on. She lost the foot off of one of them.
I did not lose the foot. It was already gone.
Yeah.
Well, we didn't do inventory, but I think...
That's the only flaw. We've all lost feet off of this
Yeah.
particular model. I don't really need it to... They needed somebody to lock it.
Yeah. That is the only thing I don't like about it. They have rubber feet, and sometimes if you're walking along, it might untwist on the ground and fall off, and it's gone. It's quite annoying. Feel free to interrupt me anytime.
Yeah, no, it's just an exhibit that story.
What? You're mumbling. She mumbles a lot. Is it just me?
It's just like Willy Wonka, where it's just a mumbler. Yeah.
Stop it.
Like Charlie Brown's teacher.
Leave me alone.
Okay, if there's a question, just let me know. There was this guy in here from Botswana who's really funny, and his name is Dennis, okay? This black guy, he's so funny. And he refers to himself as Dennis. He always speaks about himself in the third person, okay? And so we were driving around in a car, right? Or one of these vehicles that's line-proof or whatever. And he goes, you know, when Dennis was younger, Dennis got in a lot of trouble with a girl. I'm like, oh. We're like, who's Dennis? He goes, that's me. He goes, oh, I said, oh, okay. And so he told us this whole story, like this very dramatic story about Dennis. And we were all just cracking up the way he said the whole thing. I really want to go back and hang out with that guy. He was great.
Alright, I've got a couple more questions.
Okay.
Studio E Artworks is wondering how age has changed your art.
How age?
Yeah, how aging has changed your art.
Oh, how aging has changed my art.
Yeah.
That's a good question. You know, something they don't tell you when you're young is that every year life gets easier, right? You kind of figure out little shortcuts or I don't know what it is, but life does get easier. You always think it's going to get harder and harder, but it really doesn't. It gets easier. And I guess, you know, every year you spin around the sun, you just experience more stuff. And hopefully you are experiencing a lot of weird, uncomfortable things. Because I think as you start filling your eyes and ears with weird waveforms that you don't expect, you just kind of assimilate them and you become very sensitive to everything around you. And you start to realize that you're not like, you just appear to be inside of one body, but like you are actually part of everything, right? And so you become a bit more, and even if you don't think about it in these philosophical ways, you know this, right? You know that there's sort of this soft poetry of the world, and you just see gentle truths here and there all over the place, and you can see connections. And as you do that, it makes it kind of a fun way to connect things using photos, right? You communicate like this sweet poetry, this sweet, you know, beauty of the earth that you can sometimes see, you know, when you're very present, you're not worried about the past or vexed about the future. When you're just there and you just see all the beautiful tendrils of the world and you're able to focus in on it and take that photo, it's amazing. And I don't think I would have really had an appreciation for that in my teens or 20s or 30s, maybe because of the path I was on. I was like stuck in a different world. I was just stuck in a different world. But now I realize that, you know, everything is actually beautiful and amazing. And the more present I am, the more I do yoga, you know, every day. I meditate every day. And this has really helped to calm my mind down and help make sense of the world. And I don't think I could have, my mind was a little crazy, you know, longer ago. It's getting better. That's why it's called practicing yoga and practicing meditation, because you're never perfect at it, but it has helped tremendously, yeah.
Alright, got another one from
Yes.
the Facebook group.
Yes.
Alana Katz, she's just finished watching the first episode, and she's wondering, what do you consider some of your biggest learning opportunities?
Some of my biggest learning opportunities? Well, that's a good question. I think all my big learning opportunities, I didn't expect them to come along. They were surprises. And they usually came from people that came into my life that I didn't expect to come into my life. You know, there's this idea that you're not really ever in control, right? And the more you try to control stuff, the more things go haywire. So I'm really into surrendering to the universe and seeing what happens, right? I think I have an open heart without fear, and I almost always say yes, and just see what happens. And I notice the more I do this, the more interesting people come into my life. Like, here's a specific example. There's this, I don't know if you've heard of TED, you know, the TED conferences. There's this private TED retreat up in the mountains of Montana It's quite remote. It's actually the only private ranch in all of Yellowstone. And it's super remote. The only way to get there is you have to ride a horse for like 3 hours. And they invite about 20 people per year, like artists and scientists and politicians and historians and writers, just like this Woody Allen summer movie with all these, kind of weird people hanging out for a week together. And I made a lot of amazing friends there. And one of them was Dr. David Sands. He works at the University of Montana. He's a biologist. And for whatever reason, we really got on well. Like I was joining on these nature walks, and he started showing me these books, and I would just voraciously consume these books, and it kind of made me realize all these things that I had no idea about. And he just kind of popped up into my life. And so I think learning stuff outside of photography has made me maybe a more interesting photographer. And all these people that I seem to meet are outside of the world. I meet plenty of interesting people in the photography world, believe me. There's lots of great people. But some of my biggest learning experiences have come from outside of this specific industry. Is that a good answer? That's a pretty good answer.
We've got another few. Ray Warren wants to know what made you start using a medium format camera.
Oh, well, I guess that's another example of a weird kind of learning opportunity, because I really had no interest in medium format photography, and I didn't even really know what it was. I think that's the kind of thing you learn about if you go to school for photography. But I knew what the photos looked like. I knew it was a bigger sensor. I knew the cameras were very expensive. I know that it's huge in film and all in the olden days. That's what everyone used. But I don't really know anything about film at all. Anyway, about 4 months ago, I was contacted by Hasselblad, and Hasselblad had just gotten some funding from DJI, the quadcopter company. They invested some money in Hasselblad, and they wanted to do a project together with me. And I was like, okay, let's do it. Like, once again, I just say yes, right? We don't really worry, like, what exactly it's going to be. You're like, yes, let's just go do it. Never tried it. Let's go for it. And so they sent me one of their cameras. I think it's an H5D, H50. I'm not exactly sure the model number, but it's like their nicest camera. It's expensive. It's like a $25,000 camera. Each lens is like $10,000. I don't think I would buy it. It seems like risky for me because I don't even know anything about it. So anyway, the three of us, actually we have a video. Three of us going down to Milford Sound. I was like, I'm going to take this camera out and just use it all day long and just beat the heck out of it and figure out what is going on. And I got back from that trip. I looked at the photos like, these are very interesting. I don't know what's happening here. I don't know if it's the compression or the optics or whatever. But I really liked it. And then I thought, oh God. Then I had this 50-day trip to 7 countries coming up, right? 30 days with the family and another 20 days with our team. And I thought, I really like this camera, but it's so heavy. I'm supposed to be Mr. All Medium Format, light and easy, fresh and breezy. And then I thought, I'm just going to take this medium format thing with me, right? And I did, and I loved it. And I think I got some really interesting shots that I might not have been able to get with a full frame. I would have gotten fine shots with full. It doesn't matter. Like, all this business about cameras, every camera is amazing nowadays. I mean, compared to when I got started 8 or 9 years ago, every camera is ridiculous now. But I can see a difference, and I'm still exploring. You might note I haven't put up a Hasselblad review or anything like that yet. But I probably will. I'm between worlds, Ruby.
You probably will.
Probably will.
Heidi Winkler is wondering if you've ever gotten into painting before.
No, kind of. I am painting curious. I have painted a little bit. I've done quite a few digital paintings. Some were kind of pretty, some were crappy. But now painting's a thing where you really do need to have. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. I often don't, but I do feel like as I've been painting, like I don't really know what I'm doing, and I'm so uncomfortable with it. I feel like learning a few basic techniques in painting would help me with my digital painting. Yeah, I really feel like a baby in the woods. And also, I'm not impatient, but I like the alpha to omega of creating a photo is very fast compared to a painting. I can have an idea for a photo. It may not work out, but I can at least see if that idea works. I can drive to a location, take a photo, come back, post-process it. Like that whole process might take, 1 or 2 hours. If I have an idea for a painting, that might take 20 hours or 40 or 50 hours. And that's just for one painting. And how many paintings do I have to get done before I actually become a good painter? And ain't nobody got time for that. So I just don't do it. Maybe someday when I'm old and gray, I'll do some painting, just paint away my elder years, play some bingo, paint.
Sounds great.
I don't know. I wish I could paint though. I like to draw, but I'm not very good at that either.
You like it. That's good enough.
I like it.
All right. Paul Heffernan is wondering how inquisitive were the people in the villages that you were photographing?
They were very inquisitive and very nice and very engaging. I think that they have white tour groups come through there from time to time, and you think they'd be, kind of used to it or, sick of it or whatever, but they weren't. They just really liked having other people around, and it seemed 100% genuine. I'm pretty good at detecting when people are genuine or when they're just pretending. They all seem really, really genuine. In fact, I really want to go back next time. When I took my wife with me this last time, but next time I want to take the kids because I really want them to experience Africa. We just took them to India for 10 days. They loved it. We took them to the Middle East, all over, and it's hard to tell that they're like really loving it because they're kids. All they do is snacks and bathroom, then a meal, then bathroom. And there's always drama, there's always complaining, but we still did a lot of stuff, and I think they did love it,
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Studio E Artworks. The second question.
Okay.
How have your children changed their photography, if they have?
Right. It looks like we're at the very end of it. We're showing a preview for next week. Very exciting. By the way, this amazing graphic, this was done by A.D. Wheeler, who's one of the masters in the Arcanum. If you like all this kind of stuff, you like learning, I recommend you go sign up for the Arcanum. It's www.thearcanum.com. And it's a really kind of fun master and apprentice system for learning art in a very personal way. It's actually incredible. So he's one of the masters that was there. Here, I can close this down now. I have someplace else to set my wine. I forgot the question.
Have your children changed your photography?
Children, yes. They have changed me for sure. It just so happened. So I got into yoga and meditation about 2 or 3 years ago, after I've seen my 3 kids go through these cycles, right? And I don't know if you guys have seen Scarlett in some of my videos, but she's kind of like, I feel like when I'm present and ridiculous and not always awesome, believe me, I spend most of the day not, but I do have moments where awesome things happen, right? And I feel like with Scarlett, she's 7, I feel like she's just having nonstop awesomeness, right? Because she's very present, she's like pure universe. Like she doesn't care what anyone thinks about what she says. She's very aware of what's going on around her. She's very empathetic. She's extremely expressive. There's no filter there. And to me, that is just like pure universe. And I see this, I'm like, this is actually how all humans are supposed to be all the time. Just full of joy and passion and awesomeness and completely electrified, right? This is the way that we're all supposed to be all the time. But then, we have all these other artificial constructs, like egos and all these weird things, all these worries in our heads, and all this grown-up-y stuff that just makes things extremely complex and doesn't even need to be there. So I think having kids has reminded me that, actually, that is the real way to be a human, You also see this, by the way, with older people, right? Once they've stopped being a serious grown-up, they're older and they just, stop caring and they just say whatever, right? I mean, this is, that's really being human, on the Scarlet end and then, on our grandparents, and that's the real thing. And in the middle, you have all these artificial constructs that, keep you up at night and, Like you wake up early, you can't get back to sleep because your mind is like spinning away on nonsense. Like Scarlett doesn't have any trouble going to sleep, waking up. She's good to go. You know, she's not worried about what's going to happen next week. She's not thinking about, oh my gosh, I hope I get dinner tonight. She just, you know, she's just awesome all the time, and that's how we're actually supposed to meant to be. You know. Should we go into critique time here?
Yep.
Okay, let me do that. Can you pull up some photos on there and maximize your screen brightness? Can you bring over that thing, Curtis? Let me get a chance.
Yep.
So anyway, we have this new Facebook group. It's called Becoming an Artist. I think it's facebook.com /becoming dash and dash. No, it's just becoming an artist. There's no dashes.
No dash.
No dashes. There is dashes?
Yes.
No, on the Facebook one. The group has no dashes.
Yeah.
Our website has dashes. It's very confusing. Very confusing. So yeah, please come join that because it's fine that I get this thing started, but I really want the community to connect with the community. It's not about me. It's about the idea. Like that's the big thing. Like becoming an artist, we're all going through this together. We're all at the same level of learning, right? No matter where we are on there. And so I really want this to be a place where we all connect and not just share photos, but talk about issues you're having or problems you're having, just kind of be real and be vulnerable, right? Channel your inner me if you're scared about that. And then also a place for you to make friends, right? There's other people you can follow on, you know, everything from Instagram to Facebook or wherever, right? Wherever they share stuff. So it's just getting started. We've got some really fun activities there. And we want to center each of these shows around that group, okay? So just like now, I'm going to dive into that group and just find a cool photo and critique it, all right? So let's go see what's going on.
All right.
Okay, here we go.
Do you want to pick them or do you want me to?
I will pick them. I almost knocked over my Mount Edward wine in here. Here we go. Okay, here we go. Here we go. What's going on here? Okay, so many photos. By the way, if you go here to, let me go here to discussion for a second, okay? We'll try to pin new stuff to the top as much as we can, all right? Like new stuff all the time, new ideas, so on and so forth. But I like how people are posting all these different photos. By the way, what I usually do is I don't always have time to comment, right? But if you ever see me do a like or a comment, it's actually me. It's not like Ruby pretending to be me. I don't have people do my social media there. But like for what I do when I don't have time, which I usually don't, is I'll show you my rating system. Okay. So if I just kind of like it, if I think it's decent, or no, if I think it's above decent, I'll say like. Okay, you get a like, boom. Okay. If I think it's better than that, you know, like a 3 out of 5 or something, I might give it a thumbs up. It's my own system, okay? If I really like it or love it, you know, I might give it a heart. Right? Maybe it's just a picture of a puppy or whatever. What just happened here? I just messed it all up. Sorry, Joseph Rockford. Those are cool photos, by the way. But this is one when I would actually give the wow to, okay? I promise I won't ever do an angry. Okay, that seems ridiculous. I don't even know why they put that in there. It seems a bit negative, doesn't it? Like it's supposed to make me angry. I'll do a wow if I really like it, which I do like that one. Okay. All kinds of stuff. All right. So we'll go up here to photos. Go through here. Oh, this is nice. Nice. Where's that? This is Gino Barassa. Oh, it's one of his quad shots. Gino is quad curious, which is double bi curious. 2 bis makes a quad, right? I'm not sure. I got to look that up in Urban Dictionary. I'm not sure. I just made that up. I'm always sucked into these colorful ones. You guys know me. That was a good shot, Gino. I like it quite a bit. Let me pop up. There was one here I really super liked. Where is it? Your mouse pad is so sensitive. Very sensitive. Where was it? God, it was so cool. I don't see it this second. Oh well, I'll pick one of these other ones I really like. There's a lot that I like. We'll zoom into this one. So there's a lot I like about this photo. There's a bit of a glare here. Let me turn it like this. Okay. This photo is by Paulo Pace, or Pace. First time posting here. He's a game designer. All right, I like game designers. Well, my favorite thing about it is all the color striations, okay? That natural gradient. It's really, really nice. I think it's great. I don't love the watermark. I've never been a fan of watermarks. I don't know why. It's not my favorite. Also, you have this structure here. I guess that's the top of a church or something. Let me close it down like this so it doesn't shake quite so much. Okay, I get that. I feel like I want it to be more prominent. This and the little thing beside it, they just are kind of like minor, weak parts of it, I feel like. I want it to be stronger, and I feel like they're just kind of like limping into the picture, and it's not that interesting to have that there. Also, I'm not sure I'm a fan of the pure black on top. Maybe just a little bit of blue, make it a little bit lighter. It just seems a little bit ominous. Because, it's strange to have, and almost never happens, where you have like a sunset and purely black clouds. It's maybe a little bit overwrought, maybe just a little bit. I think the trees frame quite nice. I like how there's a little dip there. But I guess my biggest problem is with this, it just doesn't seem like that strong of, if you're going to put an artificial man-made object in the middle of something so natural, I like it to be a little bit more strong, Yeah. All right, I guess that's it. Curtis, let me give this back to you. Okay. Thank you, Curtis.
Yes.
Curtis on camera. All right, you guys. Well, thank you for watching. Did you have a good time, Ruby?
Fabulous time.
Good. Is your fan club growing ever more? No doubt about it. All right. We're going to try to do several of these shows per week. We'll do one of these shows per week where we kind of talk about the episode that just came out. And the other episodes will be kind of wild cards. We'll talk about different kinds of cameras or techniques or things we figured out, tips and tricks along the way. We'll always have Q&A every time. But we'll go to different locations. One thing that kind of ties us down right now is we need really good Wi-Fi, but we've got some really cool spots around New Zealand that we're going to go to. And you guys know me, I'm always traveling around the world. I'll be in New Zealand for a few months, but then I'll be off and away into the wild blue yonder. All right, well, thanks again for joining me. I'm here for you guys, and thank you for being here for me and the team. All right, we love you. All right, bye, friends.